Old iron never dies, it only gets louder with the right touch. From scrapyard rescues to six-figure trail kings, we're diving into the most mind-blowing custom vintage off-road builds you've ever seen. Legendary rigs, hardcore mods, zero chrome fluff, just pure purpose-built beasts ready to flex, climb, and crush everything in their path. When you think of a truck built for serious nasty jobs, this 1942 Dodge Power Wagon is exactly what comes to mind, only this one's been reborn with just the right dose of refinement. Handled by Winslow Bent and the crew at Legacy Classic Trucks, this Power Wagon started as a bare chassis from a World War II-era WC-63 troop transport and turned into a six-wheel drive diesel-powered masterpiece that blends vintage grit with modern drivability. Under the hood is a 3.9-liter Cummins four-cylinder turbo diesel. All mechanical, no computer fuss. It's what they call a one-wire diesel, where the only wire shuts it off. Torque is the name of the game here, not horsepower. And that's perfect for a truck that weighs in at 8,000 pounds and still climbs like a mountain goat. It's running a 5-speed, fully synchronized transmission, way more civilized than the old 3-speeds, and shifts through a dual-master hydro-boost brake system with power steering. So it drives like a beast, but doesn't fight you doing it. The axles are still geared with original 5.83 differential locks, meaning low-end torque for crawling up just about anything. On the outside, it's all Power Wagon presence with military roots. 37-inch Toyo tires, electric Warn winch, World War II bomber-style gauges, and a custom fuel tank tucked neatly in the bed. The interior sticks to a vintage vibe but is crisp, functional, and built to last. There are even charging posts built in for jump-starting other rigs, because this truck's still very much a workhorse. Legacy Built designed this to be driven, not parked. They use US-made parts wherever possible, and the whole build philosophy is overbuilt but maintainable. It's not just restored, it's reborn to do what it was made for, getting dirty and getting the job done. You know a restoration's serious when it starts with a truck that's clocked nearly 300,000 miles and still gets the royal treatment. That's exactly what went down at Greg's Restorations with this 1982 Toyota pickup 4x4. Shipped in from sunny California, the truck came in rocking the usual surface rust, but the bones were solid. What followed was a full-blown frame-off resurrection that took a year and a half, and over 1,000 hours of meticulous work. Everything was stripped down to bare steel, sandblasted, chemically dipped, and rebuilt better than factory spec. The bed alone needed custom fabrication, since aftermarket panels just didn't exist. The paint? A crisp coat of Sherman-Williams Phoenix Red, with layers of protective undercoats and seam sealing that laugh in the face of rust. Even the bed got a color-matched Raptor liner to tie the whole thing together and keep it sleek. Under the hood, things get spicy. They dropped in a fully built 22R engine, but not just any. This one's rocking a Holley EFI setup and a Camden supercharger courtesy of LC Performance. It's pushing 150 plus horsepower at the wheels, a far cry from its humble beginnings. To handle that power, it's sitting on a 2.5-inch Old Man EMU lift with 31-inch BFGs and US wheels. Stopping power comes from upgraded disc brakes with a Trick e-brake caliper, and the exhaust sings through a ceramic-coated system with an LCE header. On the outside, you'll find a Go Rhino roll bar, LED KC lights, and replica bumpers that haven't been made since the 90s. Inside, it looks factory, but hides a Bluetooth-ready sound system and other modern amenities. You couldn't restore a vintage better if you tried. Some builds start with nostalgia, others start with a wrench and a wild idea. Jerry's 1976 Ford Crew Cab came from a bit of both. Originally a family cruiser, now transformed into a full-blown off-road rig with travel, comfort, and capability all baked in. At first glance, it's still got that old Ford soul, but underneath, nearly everything's custom. The chassis may be a 1976 Ford, but up front, it's sporting a full 3-link setup, with coilovers, bypasses, and hydraulic bumps. Out back, a triangulated 4-link with its own set of long travel coilovers and bypasses. It flexes hard, like 2 feet of wheel travel hard. Both ends ride on beefy Dana 60 axles from a 2014 Super Duty. So it's not just for show. The body's had a serious trim too. Jerry chopped 6 inches off the rear and 24 off the front of the original long bed. It's wearing a rough and ready car art paint job, designed to be beaten on, not babied. Perfect for the trail, and even easier to touch up after a weekend of fun. The 39s give it that proper lifted stance, and you just know this thing eats rocks for breakfast. Inside, it's all modern trail luxury. There's an AEM digital dash, a 12-switch Switch Pros panel, rugged radios with intercoms and headsets, and even a center-mounted fridge for snacks and trail beers. Heated front seats? Yeah, those too. Dual transfer cases, an ORD Magnum underdrive, and an NP205 keep it crawling with control. The goal was clear: build something that could handle the desert, tackle the rocks, and still keep the family comfy. Mission very much accomplished. First stop, the Peace Trail. And while Jerry says he'd farm out the fab work next time, there's no denying this Ford's got heart, muscle, and trail cred for days. If you're into vintage steel with modern guts and an off-road attitude, you're in the right garage. Like, comment, and subscribe for more savage builds. This 1971 Deuce and a half was simply a tick off the owner's list crazy, right? Snagged from Boyce Equipment in Ogden, Utah, this AMC General Military Beast has been transformed into something way beyond stock. Part survival rig, part workhorse, all-out head-turner. Let's start with the lighting. Everything's been swapped for DOT-compliant LEDs. Front end, undercarriage, turn signals, the works. Whether you're crawling trails or working in the dark, this thing glows like a landing strip, and if you get stuck, you won't for long. There's an 18,000-pound winch up front and a 15,000-pound unit tucked into the bed, paired with a work light. Utility isn't an afterthought here. It's the whole point. The truck's been rhino-lined nearly everywhere it counts. Undercarriage, fenders, interior, making it both rugged and ready for anything. It sips from a 55-gallon tank and still manages 13 to 15 miles per gallon, which is frankly wild for a rig of this size. Storage? Yep. There's a compartment for long guns, a full dump bed that lifts higher than the truck itself, air hookups in the rear, fog and uplights, a side-mounted toolbox, and ramp attachments for hauling quads or gear. Those 350-pound tires, they'll set you back $1,500 each, but they look absolutely worth it. Inside, it's pure utility meets rough luxury. Air ride seats, airbags for the bed, all lights on switches up front, and screens for both thermal imaging and night vision. There are in-cab comms that can sync to your phone, a C above the driver's head, and a rebuilt 5-ton multi-fuel engine under the hood, ready to burn everything from diesel to used motor oil. Call it what you want. Apocalypse rig, farm truck, dream toy. But this Deuce, it's a statement. Some builds just look like they're ready to raid a fjord, and Project Viking wears that name with pride. This is no ordinary Land Rover Defender 110. This is a ground-up custom, reimagined not just to conquer trails, but to do it in high style and comfort. It's the kind of rig that could haul gear up a glacier, and then roll into a black tie dinner. At its heart is a 5.3-liter LC9 V8, packing 320 horsepower, and paired with a smooth, 6-speed auto. It's got the grunt and reliability to back up its aggressive stance. And yeah, it sounds as good as it looks, thanks to a Borla Performance exhaust that gives it that throaty V8 growl without being obnoxious. The suspension lift makes room for 37 inches of Maxxis Trepadors, wrapped around 16-inch beadlock wheels. Pure off-road muscle with a side of style. Up front, there's an aircon winch bumper with DRLs and a Warn VR8 winch, just in case things get sketchy. And the full external safety device's roll cage with a rear ladder. It's as functional as it is badass. The interior, though, that's where things get real interesting. Heated Corbeau RRS seats up front, inward-facing benches in back, and storage tucked neatly underneath. Leather is a rich blend of envy, umber, and soft black. The Momo Eagle steering wheel, classic gauges, and JL audio sound system all vibe together beautifully. And yes, there's a full Sony infotainment setup, with Sirius XM, in-car Wi-Fi, wireless charging, and USB ports wherever you'd want them. From the KBX wingtops and Icelandic arches, to the camera's puddle lights, garage opener, and even rear AC controls, this isn't just a Defender. Project Viking is a luxury off-road tank with a savage heart.